Those of you that remember these cars, yes, this is the 3500 V8 with the nice big Rover V8 engine underneath. It does sound very nice. This is a Series 1 car as well, so this is the first version of the body style. So it's got a different interior to what you may remember or may be familiar with, and the front headlights are recessed back into the body for some reason. It's an interesting design. Not quite sure what the idea behind that was, but it looks cool. So let's go for a little bit of a closer look at this car, see what it's about. Let's have a quick look inside. As you can see, the car is pretty big. This was back when cars were made out of steel. Oh. And you can see all of the amazing brown interior. You could spec the car in other interior trim colours, but whoever bought this car knew obviously liked brown quite a lot. So we've got brown seats, we've got brown dash, we've got, they're not in at the moment, we have brown carpets. We did have a brown headlining, but we've taken that out, and we got brown door cards. And I'm also wearing a brown fleece, so it's very brown in here. So here's all the instruments. We've got some big traditional switches with the old relays, which you can hear clicking away. Very mechanical, everything in this car. Really is interesting when you start working on it, see how things used to be done. So all the gauges are pretty much in this pod thing on the top of the dash, and the idea was so that you could move it straight over there for a left-hand drive car. You've got this slightly odd-shaped steering wheel. You can see it's like a square. It feels a bit weird when you drive it. You've got these really little spindly stalks. This one needs replacing. Tried to use it, and a lot of smoke came out from behind it, so something wrong there. You've got electric windows, which is amazing. This was like wow back in the day if you had electric windows. They're quite primitive though, they don't have the auto cut-off, so in a modern car if you put your hand in the window or something when it's going up, the window will stop. This doesn't, it just cuts your arm off. So you actually get a 5-speed box in this car. It's basically the same gearbox you get in a Range Rover, so first, second, third, fourth, and fifth is over there, and then reverse is up and over to the left. So you have to be careful when you're going to put it into first, because you can quite easily throw it all the way across and then reverse straight into the back of somebody or into the front of somebody when you're at a set of lights. Over here you've got your clock, and you've got all your vents here. Don't get too excited, it hasn't actually got air conditioning. You could have air conditioning, but we've just found an air conditioning module that just nicely blanks off this area, because it originally had 2 clocks and some idiot had wired them in series, so they both ran really slowly. So pulled the wiring out, wired that clock in, and then just put this in to fill the gap. We've also got This is a bit interesting. This is an extra fog light switch, and I routed through the wiring. It goes down the dashboard. It went all the way down this side of the car with the wiring for the central locking, and then it went up this side, up into here, and it went to the dome light that you get in here. So and the previous owner had spliced into this cable and then routed that switch down over here so that you could turn the interior light on one side only. It's a bit weird, but we haven't got a blanking piece to put in there, so at the moment you've got this weird situation with 2 fog lights, but that bottom one doesn't actually do anything anymore. Something else that's a bit strange is you also get 2 glove boxes. We've removed this one for the moment, but you can see that one over there. So you've got loads of cubby holes and places to store stuff. This is the hole for your radio, that goes in there. Radio wiring is a right mess, so that's on the list of jobs to do, but got more mechanical stuff to be working on at the moment. Down here, you have to excuse the mess. We've had all this apart. There should be a carpet and a console and stuff that goes over the top of it. I wonder how many of you remember these. That's a choke, so when it's cold and it won't start, you have to pull that out, put more petrol into the engine to get it to go. Nowadays that's done all electronically on the ECU. This car doesn't even have an ECU. I don't know what one of those is. It's all carburetors, all mechanical. You've got mechanical fuel linkage, carbs, everything's powered by cables, levers. So like, you know, you pull this down and hear weird noises and stuff sort of happens. That is a particularly good noise. Let's try and get that again. Pull this down. Very mechanical. Now you just press a button and a little green light would come on, but no, in the Rover you get sort of
and you've done something.
Yeah, it does feel good. It's like the car's doing something.
It's really weird that.
It's almost like it's flapping. It's also broken as well. It won't turn off.
Spring, I think, because the return springs.
We can actually make more noises.
Yeah, the return springs come off, I think.
Yes.
That's another job to investigate.
There's a lot of jobs to do in here. The headlining was awful. We took that out. Something that we did do as well was get the sunroof working. Ooh, yeah, that is the noise of it working. Ow. Push it, there you go. So yeah, this works. It was completely stuck solid. If we go up onto the top, I can show you the reason why it was stuck. So here we are. This is a traditional metal sunroof, and you can see the level of corrosion we've got going along here. We've got all the paint off it, scraped as much of the rust off as we could, which has revealed some nasty holes, which we've just patched up temporarily. Given it some rust treatment just to stop it getting any worse, but in the long run we're going to try and source a replacement. But if we can't get it replaced, I'm going to have to get the welder out and cut a new piece. That's going to have to cut sort of all the way along here, put a new piece in at the back there. But because it was so rusty and all the paint had bubbled up, it actually seized the sunroof in place, so you couldn't open it. There we go. You can open the boot, or the trunk, if you're watching this and you're American. You can see how big the boot is. Is it actually going to say? The gas lifters are knackered, so it doesn't always...
I'll hold it.
You got it?
Yep.
There you go. There's the boot. Got a load of spare bits in here at the moment, but that is huge. Can fit loads of stuff in there. Got a speaker down there in the corner, various bits of wiring. All the central locking is up in there, or it was. Central locking, yeah, the box if you want. There's a massive box of relays and stuff, and all of the capacitors in it and the relays to make it work have all perished. The capacitors have actually burst, so I'll look at those in a sec. You've got your fuel filler. So petrol tank is just down in there. It's in quite good nick actually. When we got the car, the fuel pump had died, but we managed to revive the electric motor in the fuel pump, so the car does actually start and run now. But, so that is the remains of the central locking. So here are your 2 relays, and then there's this sort of chocolate block with some resistors in it, and then these 2 massive capacitors which have both burst. The relays.
It's just like that one's leaking.
Yeah, they're all sticky and horrible. Careful.
Well, that's how you did central locking in 1976.
Yeah, advanced technology,
height of technology.
advanced stuff. Whereas now that'd just be replaced by a little chip. So if we open the bonnet, we can have a look at the. Some rust just fell off. The bonnet's a bit rusty.
Luckily, off-the-shelf replacements are still available.
Excellent.
So brand new one we've got on it.
Hopefully we can replace that. Here's the beast. This was originally a Buick engine. Buick designed it. But because it's an all-aluminium engine, at the time the right sort of antifreeze wasn't really being used, and they had a number of failures in the US, so Buick decided, you know what, let's just get rid of this engine, let's stop making it and go back to traditional cast iron design. But Rover decided that they actually quite like this engine, bought the rights, and here we are today. So many Rovers, TVRs, all sorts of British vehicles were powered by an engine.
Kit cars.
Very similar to this. Yeah, kit cars as well.
Yeah, everything.
Lots and lots of stuff. Sherpa vans, anything.
Yeah, old ambulances.
Yeah, ambulances. Quite a lot of Range Rovers had this engine.
This was a staple of the Range Rover all the way up until about 2002, I think.
Yeah. And Buick had a V6 version of this engine that was in use right up until 2004, so it gives you an idea of the longevity and the design. It is a good lump. It's 3.5 litres, and it develops a mighty 155 brake horsepower, which by today's standards is absolutely rubbish. My car's 2 litres and develops 200 horsepower, so that gives you an idea. This is very much just make the engine big and just leave it at that. There's not a lot of science.
Big lazy torque.
So there we go. Quite a big lump. Very different to your modern car now. So here we've got 2 SU carburetors which feed the fuel into the engine, whereas now today you'd have what's called a fuel rail, and then you'd have fuel injectors attached to that, and they'd feed the fuel directly to the engine. But back then you had carburetors.
Distributor as well.
Oh yeah, you got the distributor down there.
Viscous fan.
Oh yeah,
not electric.
You keep sending me the wrong way. And then we've got viscous fan down there, and then the power steering is down here. That's that little pump on there. Does help, but steering is still reasonably heavy. Got a massive radiator because it's a massive engine. I think the radiator may have been replaced because it's in pretty good condition considering the age of the car. It's probably been changed out. Here's your airbox back here, so you've got an air filter in there and one in there, and then that feeds around. Got to be careful not to touch it too much because the engine is a bit warm at the moment. Got new leads. The old leads are a bit dangerous. They'd split in places, so we didn't fancy those arcing onto the engine and starting a fire. But it's actually still on the original spark plugs at the moment. Not much of the actual mechanical parts of this engine have been changed.
I think the spark plugs were probably last replaced in the mid-90s, because that was the last time you could get Unipart spark plugs.
Oh yeah, because they are Unipart ones, so yeah.
So that was probably mid-90s these were last replaced.
That's a long time ago. But yeah, it seems okay. It actually runs quite well, which you'll see in a minute. Yeah, considering this car is 33 years old, we're pleasantly surprised by the condition and how well everything seems to have stood the test of time. Even though this is a car built by British Leyland.
It was renowned for not being built very well.
Yeah, particularly the Series 1 was renowned for being built really badly, but this one seems alright.
To disprove it fairly well. The panel gaps are nice and even, nice and straight.
Yeah, all the panels are pretty good.
It
the
fits
doors.
together well, it's not rotten.
All the chrome's not bad as well. These are past it, but these were just painted black, so we can redo those. That's
sun fading damage to the...
Yeah. This isn't the original colour, someone's repainted it. The original colour, the best example of it.
It's the best example.
There's an example there. We come round over here. That's the original colour, so it's like a greeny bluey colour.
If you look up Persian Aqua Blue in SD1s, that is the colour this car should have been.
There you go, Persian Aqua. So it's got this sort of, I don't know, you could call it a modern interpretation of that colour. It's like a sort of silvery version.
It's Moonraker Blue, no, it might be Moonraker Blue, which is a Series 2 colour.
Oh, I see. So you join me underneath the back end of the car. You can see it's got a very different setup to most modern vehicles. This is what's called a live rear axle, as you can see there. So basically, if we look up the front, you've got the prop shaft coming from the engine. It comes down, goes into the differential, which splits the power between the 2 rear wheels through drive shafts that are inside these tubes of the axle, and that's how the rear wheels are driven. See the suspension up there, over this side as well, and then you've got various sway bars and things to try and keep this big piece of metal from moving about too much. Cars with live rear axles are renowned for sort of a harsh ride, because whatever that wheel does, the other wheel is going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So Rover put various bits on the car. You've got this contraption here, this is called a Watts linkage, which tries to keep the camber of the wheels in check. And you've also got these bars up there which hold the axle to the body. That tries to keep things in check from swaying from side to side. And then on the prop shaft as well, you've got what's called a torque tube which tries to reduce the twisting force that the engine puts on this back end of the vehicle. And having ridden in the car, it actually rides very well. It's got very, very comfortable suspension, comfortable seats, drives very smoothly. The car's very softly sprung, so you get an idea. That's almost no effort at all.
Literally no effort.
Very, very comfortable car to ride in. And if we take a little trip back now to an old piece of promotional footage from the 70s, you'll see just how soft it is. Might find it's actually got some power steering now.
It's a bit over full, but that's fine.
Yeah, it'll settle as you use.
I'll just run it and
bleed the system.
Lock it. Really didn't think there was
I may not
one
be
in-
a mechanic, but I did tell you had no power steering fluid.
I thought there was some in it.
So there you go, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments and I'll try and do a few more bits of progress as we get stuff done on the Rover. So far there's quite a lot left to do, but the brakes have been renewed, it's got new wheel cylinders and rear drums, engine has been given a bit of treatment so it runs a bit better. It's got a new clutch system and starts and drives and stops now. So at the moment just got bodywork to be getting on with, a few electrical gremlins to sort out, and we're pretty much ready to get the thing back on the road properly. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.